All right. So we're looking at payoff table, and today I would want us to do a great question. Yeah, called in this case here, shifters haulage. So I want to attach this document that I'll be using here. Great. Thank you so much. We are overcoming, right? We are overcoming. AMA. Yeah, great. So there is a document that I've just shared, which I would want you to download very fast. Yeah. And then, of course, you go to the very end. The very end here, we're going to get a nice question. Yeah, great. To the near the end, near the very end. So I want us to do this question, which is a question on developing a payoff table. A very interesting question. So I read. Shifters haulage is considering changing some of the vans it uses to transport crates for customers. The new vans come in 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. Shifters haulage is unsure about which type to buy. The capacity is 100 crates for the small van, 150 for the medium van, and 200 for the large van. Demand for crates varies and can either be 120 or 190 crates per period, with the probability of the higher demand figure being 0.6. So you can see demand here are what these two of them will be our states of nature. We don't know how many crates will be demanded from down there in the market. The sale price per crate is 10, and the variable cost is 4 per crate for all van sizes, subject to the fact that if the capacity of the van is greater than the demand for crates in a period, then the variable cost will be lower by 10% to allow for the fact that the van will be partly empty when transporting crates. Shifters haulage is concerned that if the demand for crates exceeds the capacity of the vans, then customers will have to be turned away. SH estimates in this case, goodwill of Kenya shillings 100 would be charged against profits per period to allow for lost future sales regardless of the number of customers that are turned away. So it's not per customer, but once in this case here we turn, even if it's 1, 10, 20 customers, lost goodwill will be 100. This lost goodwill will be 100, would be charged against profit per period to allow for lost future sales regardless of the number of customers that are turned away. Depreciation charge will be Kenya shillings 200 per period for small, 300 for medium, and 400 for the large van. Shifters haulage has in the past been very aggressive in its decision making, pressing ahead with rapid growth strategies. So meaning, ladies and gentlemen, that Shifters haulage is a risk-taking organization. These are basically risk takers or very optimistic organizations. Why are they very optimistic? because of aggressive. Remember, aggressive investors are also known as what here? Risk takers. That is why they're able to press ahead with rapid growth strategies. However, its managers have recently grown more cautious as the business has become more competitive. So two sides of the coin. They have been risk takers, but given the changing of the business landscape, there is a possibility that some of the directors in this case here are becoming what here? Apprehensive. They're becoming pessimists. So they want me to prepare a profit table or a payoff table showing the 6 possible profit figures per period, 9 marks. They gave us a similar question like this last semester. And fortunately, I was able to tackle that question for you, if you remember very well. So then I would want you to take 5 minutes. Please, just try as much as possible to give me the structure of the payoff table. Just try. Only 5 minutes. So then I'll come in like a chief ninja at 6:20. I will be able to see in this case here was the right structure, whether there is any student who will be able to get even one profit amount, etc. Then I can see charts here. Yeah, I'm recording and there is a cousin of yours. Wow, great. Thank you so much, Karen. We are overcoming. Thank you so much. So I just don't even want you to do the question. I just want you to put down the structure. Because without knowing how to put down the structure, trust you me, you will never do any payoff table. And the structure, perhaps if I could just help you a little bit, how does this structure look like? This structure looks like this. So we are going to have, ladies and gentlemen, here, we are going to have alternatives here. Let me give you the structure so that you don't end up wasting the 5 minutes. So alternatives. So we have 3 alternatives that we're going to choose from. Remember, we want to buy a van. So in this case here, we have a small van here. We have a medium van. Yeah, medium. And then we have what here, somebody? We have a large van. A large van like that. Make your cells to be always very big because I always prefer students doing their workings inside these cells. All right? And then don't forget that here we have states of nature. And the states of nature are normally probabilistic, of which in this case here, this will be our demand. We don't know how many units will be demanded, but they have given us pointers. They have told us, ladies and gentlemen, that at the end of the day, we expect the demand to be either 120 or 190 crates. 120 or 190 crates. So 120, 120 crates. I can even write here crates just to make myself bigger. 190 crates. 190 crates. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have 6 cells here. We have cell number 1, cell number 2, cell number 3. No, 2. We have cell number 3. We have cell number 4. We have cell number 5. We have cell number 6. It's long since I gave any student a present. I would want to see whether there is any student who will be able to give me this profit. If cell number 1 is the one that prevails. And of course, you must be having a good reason. If cell number 1 prevails, in this case here then, what do you think, my good students, will the profit be in that case? If cell number 1 is the one that will prevail, with very good argument, what do you think in this case here will the profit here be? Yeah, the question is on the handout that we have just shared there, that I can see Lillian, a great student. Yeah, just at the very last pages, I need to give those handouts page numbers. So if I were you, I would want to know, I'm taking some goods to the market, and I would want to see whether should I go for a small van, medium, or a large van. So I would want to know their capacities. Is there somebody who is able to see the capacity of the vans? Capacity of the vans. So as I finish this topic, ladies and gentlemen, the capacity of the vans, you can see small is 100, 150, 200. So capacity, the capacity for small is 100. For the medium, we have 150. And then lastly, we have 200 there. We have 200 there. Yeah. So remember, this automatically will be like what you can supply to the market. If I'm going with a small van, I can only supply 100. Yeah, if I'm going with a medium van, I can only supply 150. If I'm going with a large van, I can supply 200 vis-a-vis the various demands. And I would want to move slowly today because this is the last question that I'm doing for this payoff table. Last question that I'm doing for this payoff table. So we look at cell number one. Cell number one. Let me do cell number one for you. So cell number one, I can see the supply. So the supply in this case here, because of the capacity of the van, is 100. So for cell number one, we are looking row-wise and column-wise. We can see demand is 120. So tell me, how many units will I sell? How many units will I sell? You always compare the supply versus the demand. The lower will always be what you work with. The lower is what is effective because you can't sell what you don't have. Don't tell me that Mwalimu here, because they have demanded 120, you are going in this case here, ladies and gentlemen, to do what here to sell 120. I mean, do you steal? Are you a thief? No. So in this case here, we sell 120. So no, 100, sorry. We sell 100. So then can you kindly go and give me the revenue? So remember, revenue will be 100. Are you able to see the selling price? Because now I'm pegging this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pegging this, ladies and gentlemen, on, full capacity. This van will now carry full capacity. And you can see selling price has been given. There is a place where they have given a selling price here. The sales price per crate is 10, and the variable cost is 4. So then I'll take 100 times 10. And the variable cost in this case, you can see, will be 100 times 4. 100 times 4. Because always this variable cost will be pegged on, the variable cost will be pegged on what we are carrying, what we are supplying. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is one thing that this examiner was very brilliant. Many students in this case here would not have gotten this correctly because of what they have said on variable cost. That as we transport our crates to Mombasa market, if our van will be full, then the variable cost will be 4. But should we go with this van partially empty, even if it's empty just by 2 crates, in this case here, the van will be a little bit lighter and we're going to save 10%. Allow me to demonstrate. Ladies and gentlemen, here. You can see what they have told us here, that the variable cost is 4 per crate for all van sizes, subject to the fact that if the capacity of the van is bigger, is greater than what we will be selling, than the demand for crates in a period, then the variable cost will be lower by 10% to allow for the fact that the vans will be partly empty when transporting crates. Great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please, every time then we are making a decision on the variable cost, we need to ask ourselves, is this van for cell 1, is it going to the Mombasa market, full capacity or half capacity? This full capacity, because you can see we are selling, whatever you are selling is exactly equal to the capacity of the small van. Let me ask you, my great students, a question here. Are there any other expenses in this question? Are there any other expenses that you think that Mwalimu, this one you need to subtract? So remember, this is revenue minus variable cost. Yeah, Lillian says, Mwalimu, I'm pretty much aware that there is goodwill to be lost. There are customers to be disappointed. And every time you disappoint customers, what is the goodwill that we should be able to charge our company? Yeah, 100. It doesn't matter. This is not like last semester's question where they told us 10 bob per customer who goes unserved. This one, so long as like now here, you are turning away 20 customers. So long as you turn away a customer comes and says, hey, I need this particular and you don't have it, then automatically there is goodwill lost. And then somebody very, very bright here, opportunity cost years, has been able to see something that most of us wouldn't have seen. That we have depreciation for these vans. Yeah, we are given depreciation. You can see here. Depreciation charged would be 200 per period for the small, 300 for the medium, and 400 for the large. Regardless of what happens, what decision you make, if it's a small van, there will be depreciation. So minus 200. Small van is 200 depreciation. So then are you able to give me the profit to ensue here? Profit to be realized. Oh, small van is 300. Small van, what is the depreciation for the small van? Depreciation charged would be 200 per period for the small, 300 for medium. I'm now dealing with a small van. I'm now dealing with a small van. Oh, you're giving me the final answer, right? They're giving me the profit is 300. Ladies and gentlemen, leo sina mbio. I'm not in any hurry. I would want somebody to go and make now an argument for cell number 2. Cell number 2. Just try your best. Try your best. Just try your best for cell number 2. How much profit? How much will be the payoff for cell number 2? I've also given you an answer down there. I've also given you an answer down there, which you can read as well, right? Yeah, perhaps instead of being idle, that could be of help. We don't want students to be idle. This semester, nobody's idle. We are not going to fail. Because if you're idle, you'll fail for sure. The same, right? So we look at number 2. So for number 2, remember, row-wise, I have my capacity. So in this case here, capacity, I can only supply, in this case here, 100. And demand is so high. Demand is so high. Demand for this, number 2, is 190. So here, first of all, I'm able to see that opportunity cost. So in this case, I'm going to sell the same 100. Sell 100. So then the revenue will be 100 times 10 minus our variable cost, which is pegged on each crate. And here you can see we're going to sell same capacity. So there is nothing like the van going down there partially empty. Nothing. All right? All right? And then we have in this case here our opportunity cost for turning away customers, 100. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have in this case here depreciation. Depreciation for the small van is always, because we're still dealing with small van, is 200. And somebody is telling me for sure that this gives me a profit of 300. The same. Which question? Please be answering these great students of mine. There is a handout which you have shared, which I believe everybody has because Lilian has been sharing. So there is a handout. At the very last pages, you'll be able to see. You can even do a quick find. Yeah, Control F. You search for shifters haulage from that handout. And this is the last question. You'll never see us again doing a question of payoffs. The last question you're doing. And for that to be very, very good for all of us, we must attempt. We must attempt. And I'm able to see, like when I tell you guys to like send me a screenshot of your notes, and somebody is able to send very clean notes. Of course, good handwritings are nice. But when I don't see students, in this case here, at times doing classwork, they're correcting themselves, they're putting a wrong there, they're putting a correct there. I normally know that this student, fine, you're very organized, but I mean, you don't know the essence of AMA. AMA is an analytical skill. The way even myself, I teach AMA Is that the same way I teach AFM? No. AMA needs analytical skills higher. It's the hardest paper at the advanced level. You know, some of you don't know that. AMA is the hardest paper. And for you to be able to crack it one term, you need to really be analytical. It cannot be the teacher doing. The teacher will only be giving you like direction and then he asks you to do. And that is why we are able even to move with syllabus quite faster than AFM, because you see now here, it's just 1 or 2, 3 questions. So long as I've involved you fully, you're able to answer most of the questions in the past paper. All right. So then let's strike a deal here. We go, ladies and gentlemen, to this third cell. Let me rub here, third cell. So the third cell, what is happening here? So the third cell, the supply is 150, but the demand in this case here is 120. So how many will I sell? How many do I sell? Please participate. How many do I sell? The lower. I sell the lower, isn't it? Now, am I going to disappoint any customer? Am I going to disappoint any customer? No, because in this case, you can see what I've supplied is higher than the demand. So no opportunity cost for customers. No opportunity cost here. Because you're not disappointing any customer. You can even write there, we are not disappointing any customer. So let's move on. But one thing is very, very clear, that we are flying down there like the Mera van. We are flying down there partially empty. We are flying down there partially empty. Why? Because you see, we shall be selling 120 and our van size is 150. So we have 30 spaces I can see. And if we fly down there partially empty, there is abracadabra happening to our variable cost. Do you know how much variable cost will we incur? Do you know the variable cost? It will be 3.6 years, because in this case, there will be a 10% saving on, so it will be 90% of the 4, which gives me 3 points. Let me read this again. You guys are very, very bright. Provide the 10%, yes. Provide the 10%, yes. Because they have told me here, ladies and gentlemen, that, the variable cost is 4 per crate for all van sizes, subject to the fact that if the capacity of the van is greater than, if the capacity is the same as supply here, of the van is greater than the demand for crates in a period, then the variable cost will be lower by 10% to allow for the fact that the vans will be partly empty when transporting crates. So in this case here, the variable cost there will be 3.6. Yeah, when capacity, thank you so much. So then it means that I'm going to sell 120 here. The selling price is not being affected. Minus, in this case here, the variable cost, which will be on the basis of the capacity. What we supply, which will be 120 there. In this case here, times what here? Times 3.6. Times 3.6. Times 3.6. In this particular case, there is no opportunity cost. You can even say there's 0 for revision, for your revision. All right. And then, of course, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, minus our depreciation for medium. Depreciation for medium, which is how much? Depreciation for the medium, which is 300. Which is 300. 300. So then this will end up giving us 468. This will end up giving us 468. So they now finish all the others. I can now do this without a lot of write-ups here. So like, for example, when I go to number 4, as a bright student, I'm able to place my pen here and I'm able to see 150 versus 190. So I will sell 150. So 150 times 10 minus 150 times 4, because this van is at full capacity. So times 4. This van is at full capacity. And I can see I'm turning away some customers. So minus 100. Minus depreciation for this small van, which is 300. 300. So is there somebody who is able to give us this figure? So here I'm being told it's 500. So for you to be able to move fast, once you place your pen here, like here, ladies and gentlemen, what are you able to see about this? Which variable cost am I going to use here? Will it be the variable cost of 4 or 3.6? Somebody is following. This one here, where I'm placing my variable cost of 3.6, yes. Because here I'm able to see like the Mirage driver that I will be flying partially empty. My van is bigger, 200 van, but I'm being told to carry 120. I'm being told to carry 120. How many will I be selling here? Somebody in cell 5? How many crates will I sell? 120, yes. So it will be 120 times the selling price of 10 minus, in this case here, 120 times, in this case here, we are going down there, full. No, 3.6. It's not full because of what here? 200 versus 120. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this scenario, am I going to disappoint any customer? No. No customer, because I can even see that, my capacity is bigger than what I'm being told to carry. So no customer is being disappointed. And then remember, these are large van. What is the depreciation for the large van? 400. I'm putting this 0 for your revision, For your revision. I'm putting that 0 for your revision. So then this gives us what figure, ladies and gentlemen? This gives us 368. This one is also very interesting because I can see that my capacity is bigger. I'll be going down there partially empty. So here I'm comparing 200 and 190. So in that case here, I know I'm going to sell 190. So 190 times 10 minus variable cost of 190 times 3.6 because of being partially empty. I'm not going to disappoint any customer. When I'm flying down there partially empty, I'm not disappointing any customer. And the depreciation will be 400. So what is the final payoff figure here? 816, like that. Let me ask you guys a question. In an exam, do you think you would have gotten this question correctly? Do you think you would have gotten this payoff table correctly in an exam? At least there are ninjas who are saying yes. Goretti is saying no. After the last class, okay. So please do practice. I've given you 2 questions here. It's a matter of analysis, right? Yeah, I've given you 2 questions on this. So it's a matter of analysis. So what was the examiner asking us to do after coming up with the payoff table? Yes. So after coming up with this payoff table, they want you to use your profit table above and discuss which type of van should be bought, taking into consideration the possible risk attitudes of the manager. Remember, we have 3 risk attitudes. Do you know them? We have risk takers, risk averse, and then lastly, we have risk neutral. Risk neutral. 3 risk attitudes. So we have risk takers. So risk takers, advise them using maxi. So risk attitudes, we start with risk takers, and risk takers, we are using maxi. So remember maxi, ladies and gentlemen, this stands for maximum of maximums. Best of the best. Best of the best. So create a column here for best. So the very best, what do you have here? The very best profit for small is 300. The best profit here for medium is 500. And then the best for large is 816. Amongst the best, you only select one maximum of maximums, 816. This is the best of the best. So if these guys are risk takers, in this case, they should buy a large van. If they are risk takers, they should buy a large van. They should buy a large van. If they are risk takers, okay. So they should buy a large van. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have a risk averse. Risk averse. You know, there are people naturally who are risk averse. Those guys, and I even told you in our last class, those are the guys that even, for example, when you observe them, when they are crossing the road, you'll know that this person fears risks a lot. They'll go, in this case here, at the middle, they go back when they think they're going to be knocked. Yeah. There are students even right now who are really averse to advanced management accounting. There must be somebody who is really fearing this forthcoming exam. I can see you. I can see you. You are averse. You are averse. Which is wrong. Which is wrong. We shall not fear these papers. We shall not fear these papers. So, ladies and gentlemen, if it is risk averse, you advise them using Maxi Mini. Advise them using Maxi Mini. Tushazoea. Asante. Usiseme umezoea kufanya AMA wewe. Tunataka upite uende BDA. So we advise risk averse using Maxi Mini, which is best of what here somebody, which is best of worst. To them, they are pessimists, remember. They always expect the worst to happen. To them, they expect the worst to happen. And there are people who are like that. Somebody is sick. When they go to the hospital, they can only see themselves dying. There are people who have that kind of an attitude, yes. So in this case here, we start with the second part, worst. To them, things don't work out very well. So you advise them on the basis of the worst scenarios. So the worst for this is 300. The worst for medium is 468. And then the very worst, in this case here for large, is 368. Now, in their worst scenarios, now you look at their worst scenarios and I tell them, hey, we know that you are risk averse. We know that you are a pessimist. But I mean, among us this, which one is the best of the worst? So this becomes BW, best of the worst. So in that case here, they should be able to buy what here? Somebody, if they are risk averse, if they are pessimists, they should be able to buy a medium van. A medium van. Buy medium, yes. Buy medium. Buy medium. Buy medium. So up to there, are we together, ladies and gentlemen? Somehow, are we together up to here? Thank you so much. Risk neutral, you always advise them using risk neutral. You shall always advise them using expected monetary value, risk neutral. Like most of us here are risk neutral. Risk neutral. So you advise them using expected monetary value. Expected monetary value. Is there somebody who is able to remember the probabilities that were given to us for this demand states? Anybody who is able to remember the probabilities given to us? 0.6 for the higher. 0.6 for the higher. 0.6 for the higher. They told us somewhere here. The demand for crates varies and it can either be 120 or 190 crates per period, with the probability of the higher demand being 0.6. So probability for the higher demand is 0.6. Higher demand is 0.6. So again, you will get a student calling you after an exam telling you that, Mwalimu, you know what? They only gave us one probability. Then of course I will tell them, if it's December exam, for sure it was an error, but I know there is a problem. Because I mean, if there are only two and they've given us this probability, then I will easily know the other probability is 0. What here, somebody? 0.4. 0.4. I know that. And then now you go ahead and give us expected monetary value for each one of them now. So is there somebody who can tell us what do you need to do to get these expected monetary values? So to get these expected monetary values, ladies and gentlemen, it's very easy. Normally what we do, we take X values times their probabilities, then we sum. So give us expected monetary value for small. So for small, I can see the X values are only 2. So you take 300 times 0.4 corresponding, plus 300 times 0.6, which will give me 300. Which will give me 300. Yeah, which will give me 300. How about in this case here, expected monetary value for medium? For medium. So for medium, I can see there are only 2 X values, 2 variables. Yeah, don't count best. We're only looking for the demands. So we have 468. So 468 times 0.4 plus we have, ladies and gentlemen, the next one there is 500 times 0.6. Please give me an number. Yeah, 487.2. 487.2. 487.2 like that. Thank you so much. Then we have in this case here, large. So for large, what do we have here? 368 times 0.4 plus 816 times 0.6, which will end up giving us a what figure? 636. 636 point what here? 636.8. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember, for this expected money, money is always sweet. Yeah, we should always try as much as possible to run away from poverty. Money is sweet. So for expected monetary value, we shall always go for the highest. So which one is the very highest here? Large. Large. So this is the best EMV. And therefore, we are saying that if they're risk neutral still, they should be able to go ahead and buy a large van. They should be able to go ahead and buy a large van. So buy a large van. They never asked us to do this, but it's very important for me to show you this concept of expected value of perfect information. Expected value of perfect information. Expected value of perfect information. Ladies and gentlemen, instead of us just guessing in the darkness, at times it is important for us to simply go and get an expert, like the broad-based government. Yeah, simply go and look for experts who can predict for us. For example, like this time around, the weather people were able to predict these rains with lots of certainty. So you can get those kind of people and ask them to predict for you the states. You're going to get a higher value when you involve what here? Experts. And for us to be able to get then this expected value of PI, EV of PI, we normally take EV with PI minus best EMV, So please write up to there that expected value of perfect information equals EV with PI. Expected value with perfect information minus best EMV. Now please listen. I will first of all come and compute this EV with PI. Let me compute EV with PI. So to get this EV with PI, what do? We shall always go to each state of nature, one at a time, selecting the best outcome. Because these experts, they are coming to tell us, hey, there will be rain. Hey, our demand will be this. So you go to each column. With perfect information, armed with information that this is the state that will prevail. I'll go to each column, selecting the very highest. So like now for column number 1, the first state of nature, the very best is 468. We only have 2 columns, remember. So the second column, the very best is 816. So once you've been able to select and circle the very best, please average them. Averaging them means what here? Because of the word expected, averaging them means that you take the figure here that is in this column times the probability. So expected value with PI will be 468. 468 times 0.4. 468 times 0.4. Plus, in this case here, 816. 816 times 0.6. So is there somebody who is able to give me this expected value with perfect information? Expected value with perfect information. I'm being told in this case here it is 676.8. 676.8. Yeah, Sheila is saying the volume is a bit low. I'll be able to do something. So once we have this EV with PI, can we then go ahead and get EV of PI? So remember now the EV of PI will be equal to EV with PI, which is 676.8 minus best EMV. Are you able to remember the best EMV that we wrote up there? Are we able to remember the best EMV that we wrote there? The best EMV, it was 636.8. Thank you so much. That is where students are getting what year? 40. That is where students are getting 40. 40. So this is that particular maximum amount. Now you can give those experts. So if somebody comes proclaiming that they are an expert and then they want you to give them 100, tell them, no, I've done my EV of PI. I know that your perfect information will give me an extra 40. So whenever we talk of expected value of perfect information, it is EV of PI, EV with PI minus best EMV. I would want you to go and practice this as I get another microphone, ladies and gentlemen. I would want to take you through some next concept here, which really is going to take our next 1 hour. Yeah. So if you move down there a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be able to see what we are calling there key limiting factor. Key limiting factor. And of course, I have to use different questions from the questions I normally use in the special revision class so that I can give you guys variety. So you can see a key limiting factor. Yeah, this is a factor that limits you. Yeah, a factor that prevents you from hitting your best levels. So you talk of a key limiting factor, this is the factor, is the resource or variable that restricts activities and prevents an organization from achieving higher levels of profit. Yeah, like for example, ladies and gentlemen, for you here, I know some of you are doing how many papers? Are they 5? All of them, which is really good. So in this case, what will prevent some of you, because I know you're bright, but what prevents some of you from passing, what limits you is time availability. It reaches a time you'll get even students are playing their videos at 2 times. But still, because they are doing so many papers, they are limited. So they can't achieve their maximum potential because of what here? Because of scarcity of this key resource, time. And that is why we normally keep on telling you, especially whenever it is quite close to your exams, ensure that you ask for permission, yeah, like 2 weeks off, for you to simply focus on your studies. That really helps. So don't chew all your leave days, yeah, on other things. No, no, no. Don't preserve them for Christmas. Preserve your leave days for study, because time to you is the key limiting factor, Nevertheless, it doesn't matter how limiting it is, we are passing. So then, ladies and gentlemen, I would want us straight away to look at a great question here, which is a question known as zinc. A question known as zinc. Yeah. So this is April 2022, question number 2A. April 2022, question number 2A. As I work on my microphone, we are looking at April 2022, question number 2A. Let me know once you guys are able to get that question. Let me know. Oh, I'm audible. Is it possible for this handout to be shared on WhatsApp? Already, I'm told by Lillian that it's shared already. Thank you so much. Shared already. Oh, we need prayers, eh? Yeah, we need prayers, but I'm surprised that is coming from Purity. I'm so sure that Purity is not a Muslim, but what Purity is saying is that we need a break. Over how many minutes? 5 minutes, yeah. Yeah, so she'll come back at exactly 7. The sound is okay. Ah, great. Great. Thank you so much for saving Ninja's Purity. Great. Great. So we are doing this April 22 question 2A, which I've been able to read. And of course, the required, they want us to advise now the management of Zinc Limited on the most profitable production mix and optimal profit using limiting factor analysis. So the basic steps are these ones. You give us contribution margin. Remember what we said about contribution margin. You take price minus all the variable costs. So we have step 2, scarce resources per unit, or rather for each product. Then you give us a very important quotient, CM, per scarce resource. You rank. And then number 5, lastly, you give us the optimal production mix. Have you guys finished writing this? Have you guys finished writing this? Thank you so much. So then let's move slowly and get this low-hanging marks of contribution margin. Let's get this low-hanging marks of contribution margin where we shall write the selling price. So we have our selling prices for the 3 products. Very easy. Very easy. So we have X, we have Y, we have Z. So we have here selling price. So selling price. So for X, we have 1,200, 2,000, and then for Z, we have 2,250. Oh yeah, we less variable cost. And I can enumerate them. The first variable cost there is called direct material cost. So direct materials, I can see 300, 900, I can see 400. Great. From there, I have variable overheads. Variable overheads, I can see 150, I can see 400, I can see 450. Now, this kind of a question is a nice one because you get students thinking that these are the only variable cost. No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a management accountant. I know apart from material, variable overhead, I will be having labor. It will be very hard to have a question that doesn't have labor cost as an expense. I'm so sure most of us will just list this and then then they tell you they've now gotten CM. Then they call you after exam, Chief Ninja, AMA this time around. When the results are out, then they say that they have been bewitched. By who? You never understood the concept very well. Yeah, so in this case here, we have labor cost. So the labor cost is for 3 departments. So we have department 1. So look at note number 1. Look at note number 1. So note number 1, each type of product passes through 3 departments in which a different type of labor is used. The labor requirements in each department are given below. So you can see department 1, they have given us labor. You can imagine those like under X, Y, Z. Those are hours. You know, at times, ladies and gentlemen, students tend to blame CASNEB a lot. But when you come, if you are to get to see your papers, after you mark, if they were being returned to you, utaona maajabu. Because you'll now get students in this case here subtracting hours. So they'll say 3, 4, no. Ladies and gentlemen, they have given us a rate. For department number 1, they've given us a rate for every hour is 20. And I can see department number 1, we need 3 hours for X. So 3 times 20, that gives me 60. For department 1, Y, 4 hours. So 4 by 20. Remember department 1, rate is 20. So this gives me 80. 6 times 20, this gives me 120. Like that. That is labor cost under department 1. So what am I doing? I'm taking the rate per hour times the number of hours for each product. Number of hours for each product. So like 20 times 3 gave me 60. 20 times 4 gave me 80. 20 times 6 gave me 120. Inakuwa kupanic, eh? Yeah. And that one I've always seen, eh? So department 2, you can see it is at 40 per hour. And I can see X is 1. So 1 times 40, so that is 40. 40 times 2.5, that one you guys have to give it to me now with my age. Is it 100? 100, thank you so much. 100. And then we have here 40 times 4, giving me 160. These are variable expenses. And then we have 3. We have 3. So 30 times 5 is 150. Then we have 30 times 7, that is 210. And then 30 times 9 is 270, like that. So now you are able to give me what we call contribution margin for each product. Labor cost is part of variable cost. Thanks for asking. Remember variable cost, they are normally 3. In most cases, variable cost, we shall have direct material cost, we have direct labor cost, and then we have variable overheads. They're normally three. We have direct material cost, direct labor cost, variable overheads, so don't bring fixed overheads. So now we've been able, so X I'm being told it's 500. X is 500. So they're taking if it's Y, 2000 minus this, minus this, minus this, minus this, minus this. Contribution margin ukipata negative, hiyo ni hatari. Direct material for Z. Direct material for Z, they're saying is wrong. Thanks for that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know where I got 400 from. It's supposed to be 600. Thank you so much. It's supposed to be 600. So Y is 310. Thank you so much. How about Z after correction of these direct materials? Z is 650. Thank you so much. 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 So we have here X, we have Y, Z. So we have our contribution margins. Don't write another table. You guys are safe. I'm the one who has to write another table because my board is very small. So second step, after, ladies and gentlemen, you get contribution margin, that is step number 1. Step number 2, you give us scarce resource for each product. So come here and give us scarce resource for each product. So scarce resource, remember they told us, ladies and gentlemen, that there is scarce resources are Department 2 labor hours. Labor hours. Department 2 labor hours are the scarce resources. Do you remember that? Do you remember they told us it's not Department 1 or Department 3? It is Department 2 that is constraining. It is Department 2 that is paining. Yeah. So then you identify the scarce resources wherever they are given for each product. So department number 2, ladies and gentlemen, not this one. It is from the past paper. So from the past paper, they told us, note number 2, that there's a shortage of labor in Department 2. So go to any information given there on Department 2, I can see the labor requirements for each unit. So you can see Department 2 hours, we have there, X is 1, this is 2.5, this is 4. You give us the scarce resource for each product. Then you give us the quotient. You give us CM per scarce resource or per limiting factor. You divide them. So 500 divided by 1, oh yeah, 500. 310 divided by 2.5. I should not be rubbing here. You're right. I should be writing always the question. So April 2022, question 2A. Yeah. So you divide 5. So this one here, Y, gives us 124. 124. And then Z lastly. 162.5. Then second last thing, go ahead and rank. Remember, the higher, the better. Go ahead and rank. So which one takes up number 1 in terms of this quotient? This will be number 1. This will be number 2. This will be number 3. Number 3. Yeah. So number 1 will be this one with 500, followed by 162 is higher, 0.5. And then this takes up number 3. Yeah. So from there, you give us the optimal product schedule. Optimal product schedule. So give us the optimal product schedule. That is the last step. So optimal product schedule, you give us here products as ranked. Products as ranked. So we have X is number 1. We have Z is number 2. And then lastly, we have Y is number 3, like that. Give us the maximum demand. Remember, this maximum demand has to be futuristic. Maximum demand for each one of them. You know, we have current demand, and if you look at the last note, yeah, they've given us a maximum sales potential. the last note. So it is X, and then second is Z ranked, and then Y. So don't, again, mess here. Remember X, if you look at note number 4, the excess demand is 12,500. 12,500. How about Z's demand? Are you able to see Z's demand? 8,000. You see, Lilian hapo ungetupa mbao. 8,000. 8,000. Be very careful here. So many guys mess up here, but even if you mess up here, already from up there, you've gotten so many marks. Most ninjas will not even be able to, write anything in this question. You are way ahead. So then Y is 7,500. Now, after that, ladies and gentlemen, remember, this is our ceiling. So our aim is to see how far the scarce resource will take us. So we have here scarce resource, department 2, labor hours. So remember, this will be per unit at first. So department 2 labor hours per unit. Are you able to see for X? It's normally from this table. So for X, I can see 1. Yeah. And then for Z, I can see 4. And then in this case here for Y, I can see 2.5. So remember, these are per unit. So go ahead and multiply to give us total. Go ahead and multiply to give us total. Go ahead and multiply to give us total labor hours. So you multiply this with this to give us total labor hours. So the first one is 12,500. Yeah. The second one will be 8,000 times 4. 8,000 times 4. 32K. Thank you so much. And then the last one will be 7,500 times 2.5. Yeah, which gives us 63, 18,750. 18,750. And then you give us the total now. Give us the total required. Total required. 250. And then now we have total available. How many hours do we have which are available now? So I have to go up here and rewrite this because of the space. I want you to get everything. So we have here products as ranked. Products as ranked. So we have here X, Z, Y. So we have here maximum demand. So we have 12,500. We have 8,000. We have 7,500. Don't write again. I'm copying this one. Times department 2 hours. Basically, we are monitoring the scarce resource. Yeah. So this was 1, 4. Then we have 2.5, right? Then we have total labor hours now. Total labor hours, you're multiplying. So this is 12,500. This is 32,000. This is 18,750, which these ninjas have given me 63,250 as the total that is required to be able to deliver all the units demanded. All the units demanded. So we have here total. So in this case here, resource required. How about available? How many department 2 hours are available? I want to throw this back to you. So hours required, department 2 hours required, and hours available. So is there somebody who is able to tell us how many hours? I'm so sure that you guys are used to situations where the hours in department 2 that are available are normally given to you. Yeah, I'm so sure of that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me in this case, ladies and gentlemen, Yeah, we have a student saying, Mwalimu, the ones which are available, they are 46,500. And that is correct. I would want to see how many will be able to get it right. How I wish all of us can get it right until they tell me, Mwalimu, don't even do it. You see, hours available are the same as what here, the current hours. Whenever they are not given, you shall always compute the hours used, like last year, the current hours. So use current output. So if you see, ladies and gentlemen, there is a place where they have given you the current output. There's a place they have given you the current output. That is not a flower. That's not a flower. There is a place on top of that table at the very beginning, first paragraph, where they have given you the current production for X is 10,000. Current production for X is 10,000. For Y is 5,000. And for Z is 6,000. So what you need to do is to come and multiply these with the Department 2 labor hours, the ones which are scarce. I'm not concerned with the labor, Department 1 and Department 3. So Department 2 labor hours available for X is 10,000 times 1 plus 5,000. 5,000, in this case here, times 2.5 for Y, plus 6,000, 6,000 times 4. Those guys who are able to get that, they are very, very, yeah. And you see, they told us, not 2, that there is a shortage of labor in Department 2. And it's not possible to increase labor input hours beyond the level currently utilized. That would have thrown your thoughts towards using the current output. Yeah. So then are you able, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, to do your abracadabra and confirm whether this 46,500 is correct? 46,500 is correct. Yeah, 46,500 is correct. So that is what we have. You got it. So remember, Peter, they have given us the current output from paragraph number 1. The current output from paragraph number 1, you can see that currently they are producing 10,000 of X, 5,000 of Y, and 6,000 of what here, Z. And then they have told us in this note number 2, if you go to note number 2, that's where they have been able to lay bare what is expected of us. There is shortage of labor in Department 2, and it's not possible to increase labor input beyond the level currently utilized. So then how many Department 2 labor hours do we currently use? So using the current production, so you can see in this case here, Department 2, of course, I can see from that table, I hope you're able to see Department 2 hours for each unit. Yeah, Department 2. If you track that down, it's 1, 2.5, and 4. That's per unit. So you multiply this with the number of units. 10,000 times 1 plus 5,000 times 2.5 plus 6,000 times 4. Yeah, if not given, use current hours here. You have actually summarized it very well. So, and I like using even my own examples, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So in this case here, those old days, of course, when life used to be very difficult, yeah, we could go. That time I only had 2 kids, yeah. You go with them in this case here to Nakumat, when Nakumat in this case here was the real Nakumat. When they used to tell us that if you need it, we've got it. And then they used to give us some Zawadi points. Very nice. So you go there with your 2 kids. They're pretty young. So they take a trolley. They put things that you think you'll be able to afford. So when you reach in this case here to the teller tells you, hey, you need 63,000. And yourself in this case here, you only have what here? 46 something. So you need 63,250. You have 46,500. Those days there weren't anything like M-Pesa. Even Fuliza wasn't there. So the only viable decision you could do is to return a few things back to the shelves. You simply tell these waiters, take this. I don't want this. So that in this case here, you can be left with what your wallet will be able to afford. So it's a painful exercise because some of the things you'll be returning are things that were chosen by your kids. So in that case, of course, there are many people lining up and you are a man. These people are crying here. You don't even want anybody to look at you. You could be having some of these people lining here. They're your students, international desire. But in this case here, at the end of the day, we must return. Yeah. In terms of what here? Priority, we choose the least priority. So the insignificant items. Yeah, the ones that you don't need. The ones in this case which are not basic needs. Yeah. So in this case, when it comes to returning these products here to the shelves, you shall always look at, first of all, give me the shortfall. Are you able to see the shortfall here? Yeah, so the shortfall is 750. So then I must return goods worth this amount back. It doesn't matter how much that boy cries. And actually nitampiga ngoto. Piga tangoto. Kitoka tu hapo nje kidogo. Na nyorosha ngoto. Kinamwambia next time sitakupeleka mahali wewe. Very good. Ndiye kuwa na behave vizuri. So hii shortfall, you will be able to recover it from the last ranked product. And then you move up because it's priority. Yeah, remember the highest is, yeah. Unfortunately, the last ranked product for us can cover this 16,750. So you come and all of this you subtract here, 16,750, like that. So meaning that the very best that you can give to Y is how many units here, somebody, is how many hours? 2,000. 2,000, yes. Can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question. What if this shortfall was 27,000? How would have you recovered 27,000 from these products? Don't write that, but what if it was 27,000? You'll allow me, first of all, just to look at this example with you. What if this total shortfall was 27,000? How would have I recovered 27,000 from all these products? I can't start from the top. So first of all, I snatch everything in this case here from Y. Because why? So I snatch this. Yeah, 18,750. But once I do that, I haven't yet recovered fully. So what is the difference? I've been able to recover 18,750 from 27,000. Can somebody in this case here subtract? Tell me what is remaining. 8250. So this 8250, I will recover it from here. 8250, I will recover it. So that when I add these two, I will get. So I'll move upwards like that. Fortunately, here we have a shortfall of 16,750, and this 16,750, all of it can be drunk. All of it can be covered by the last ranked product. And actually, I'll be able to have some, yeah, like that, 2,000. So it means that for X, I will produce the maximum demand. So for X, so in this case here, maximum production, so the production, so for X, I'm not going to reduce anything of X. So for X, I'll produce 12,500. While Z, again, I'm not deducting any time here. So here I'll produce everything 8,000. But now here, I can't produce 7,500. Because now I can see this time is no longer 18. This time is 2,000. So then how do I get to know how many do I produce now here? It's very easy. I will take the 2,000, I divide by the rate. I will take the 2,000, I divide by the rate. Can somebody give me this? 2,000 divided by the rate gives me what here? Somebody gives me 800. Listen, the very best way of knowing after you get these total labor hours. Now we know that this is 2,000. We know, ladies and gentlemen, that here we are subtracting 16,750 to get 2,000. Normally what we do, we come and copy this rate. We normally copy this rate the way it is. You copy this rate, you say department 2 hours. You copy the rate the way it is. So we have here 1, we have 4, we have 2.5. And then to get now production, the optimal production, can call it optimal production. Now you do the abracadabra, you divide. You see, to be able to get these total hours, we multiplied. Now to be able to get, in this case here, the optimal production, you take whatever you have here as the total, you divide by these labor hours. Yeah, like the first one will be 12,500 divided by 1. So it means here for X, I produce 12,500. This will be 32,000 divided by 4, which will give me 8,000, like that. This will be now 2,000, because that's what I have. 2,000 divided by 2.5. How much am I getting here, ladies and gentlemen? 800. If you do it this way, you'll never confuse. If you do it that way, you'll never confuse. Let me now check whether we have questions up there. You address them before you go to the profit statement. Yeah, great. You can also recover. Then they were making contributions. They were making contributions. They were making contributions. So the very best, once you have reached here, you've been able to recover, you come and just copy this column here and then ask God to be gracious enough to remind you that you are dividing now. To get, in this case here, production, you divide. Once you reach there, then you are a very, very good student. So what do they want us to do? Read the question. Advanced Management Accounting, you shall always read the question, not once, not twice. So they wanted us, ladies and gentlemen, to advise the management limit of Zinc Limited on the most profitable production mix and the optimal profit. Optimal profit. So go ahead and give us the optimal profit. Very easy. Very easy. Very easy. So profit statement. Profit statement. So the profit statement, we are good students of management accounting. We know that profit is CMX minus fixed costs. And I know the products that I'm producing. I know I have X, I have Z, I have Y. And I even know the units I'm going to produce and sell, 12,500. We have 8,000. We have 800. So are you able to give me the contribution? So I want to get CMX. So already I have these are the quantities. Please, from the very original table that we did, is there somebody who is able to give us the contribution margin for X? Anybody who is able to give us the contribution margin for X? Please go to the very first table. The very first table we did the first step. We have the contribution margin of X. It was 500. Please don't confuse. How about the contribution margin of Z from the same table? Last column. Z is 650. Z is 650. And then we have here Y. Y, the middle one, is 400. So then are you able to give us these figures, ladies and gentlemen? Are you able to give me these figures? 12,500 times 500 gives me 310, not 400. Oh, Y. Y is 310. Sorry for that. Y, I'm being told, is 310. So then 12,500 times 500. 62, 50,000. 62, 50,000. So we have 8,000 times 650. Yeah, we have Marvin. Marvin. Oh, he's saying Y. Y is 310. Y is 310. So 8,000 times 650. I'm waiting for your answer. 5.2 million. So this 5.2 million. Thank you very much. And then we have 800 times 310. 800 times 310, giving us 248K. 248,000. So then are you able to give me the total contribution? Are you able to give me the total contribution? Anybody who is able to give me the total contribution? You add the 3 because all the products will be contributing to our profitability. So we have here 11,698,000. 698,000. So we come under less fixed costs. We less fixed costs. Are you able to see fixed cost of this organization somewhere there? There is fixed cost of this organization. Fixed cost, I'm able to see a figure of what there. Yeah, note number 3. Fixed cost is 5 million. Thank you so much. So you're able to get net profit. You are able now to get the net profit. So the net profit will be equal to who? 66,98,000. 66,98,000. If that is okay for all of us, then I'll be able to introduce right away the concept of throughput, which is also very easy. Throughput analysis. So is everything okay? Have we been able to follow? The good thing is that, again, you have the video, rewatch. Like now, these are very good area, very good candidate for you this December, this area. Very good. Very good. So with your permission, I will be able to go to the last area here. Yeah, I'll be able to go to the last area here, which in this case here is throughput is very, very easy. I've never understood why students fear throughput. It is the easiest thing because at a throughput, the only variable cost that we have is material. if I explain something small before I start reading these, you see, like we have three types of variable expenses. We have, in this case, direct materials, direct labor, then lastly, we have variable overheads. Variable overheads. So the people who discovered this throughput accounting, they came up with a very, very good concept. And they said that in the long run, the only expenditure which will become direct, which will be variable, will be direct material cost. Because if I'm making chairs, the more the chairs I produce, the more the timber I need. So any material expenditure will be stretching. But according to this gentleman, they came and said that labor, in the long run, it shall be fixed. Even as, for example, when we were beginning, ladies and gentlemen, these colleges, I mean, you could pay people on the basis of a number of students that they have. It was piece rate. But as you stabilize, first of all, you start KRA. KRA will come and tell you that the guys that you have who are teaching for you are not consultants. You can't tell us that you are withholding 5%. No. Because in this case, these guys are getting a regular income. So in this case, then you have to sit down at the end of the day. You will have to settle on a fixed salary. There are very few. Look at even your payrolls. Your payrolls, the bigger percentage will be fixed on a monthly basis. The people earning commissions are like the salespeople only, like that. So according to them, they said, no, at the end of the day, labor will become fixed and the total overhead will become what year? Fixed. When you are very, very small, your salary payroll will keep on fluctuating. But as you grow, that payroll will be fixed. Bigger part of it will be fixed. That is the concept of throughput. So that is why under throughput, we have what we call throughput contribution margin. To get throughput contribution margin, you will take price minus material cost. Can somebody explain to me why do you think am I only subtracting material cost? Can somebody explain to me in this case why do you think am I subtracting material cost only? Or the CMs, yes. Those are the contribution margins. It is the only variable cost long term. Thanks, Millie. Simple and clear. It is the only variable cost in the long term. The only variable cost in the long term. And the moment you understand that, then you'll be able to do the entire question. So we are told, ladies and gentlemen, here, definition, throughput is sales revenue minus direct material cost. It measures the cash a company generates. I mean, that is not even important to me. The moment you've understood throughput is sales revenue or selling price minus material cost, you are as good as, very knowledgeable. So steps to solve, compute throughput per unit, selling price minus material cost, compute throughput per unit of scarce resource, rank the products by the highest throughput per scarce resource, allocate available resources to products in that rank order until bottleneck hours are used up. So let's do this question. This is interesting. Let's do this question. So Roman 2, they want us to use throughput accounting. Throughput accounting. This is not a subject students should fail. No. We should be able to overcome. So it's throughput, So we have X, we have Y, we have Z. The only problem with this subject at times, even when Mwalimu is teaching, you'll always find a few students sleeping. I don't know where that sleep comes from. And that sleep disappears immediately. I finish the class. We should be able to pray. Because this is a good subject. Why should you sleep through my session? So we have price, selling price for X. We have 1,200. We have 2,000. Then we have 2250. So we want to get throughput contribution margin. Yes, already I've shared Ugali effect. Already I've shared this. It's in the group. Stephen, it's in the group, WhatsApp group. Check. Somebody can tag that ninja. So less material cost. So material cost, are you able to see material cost? Material cost, yes. 300. So we have 900. So we have 600. So subtract these ones only. And then we'll be able to give us what we call throughput contribution margin. Because throughput contribution margin is price minus material cost. Price minus material cost. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Throughput. So the only throughput, the only variable that will be able to move through the entire process as a variable cost will only be materials. The others will not be able to. Yeah. So Lillian gives me 900. 900. We have 1100. And then we have, in this case here, 1650. So come here and give us scarce resources. Scarce resources. So scarce resources, these are the Department 2 labor hours. Department 2 labor hours. So Department 2 labor hours, remember, these are quite clear. It's 1, 2.5, and 4. 2.5 and 4. So give me the CM per scarce resource. You divide. You divide. CM per scarce resource, you divide. The first one, so divide this. Divide them up. So this will be 900. This divided by this will be what here? 440. Then lastly, 1650 divided by 4. 412.5, eh? 412.5. So please go ahead and rank them. Rank them. I always love it whenever the examiner gives you key limiting factor part 1, he should give you limiting factor by throughput method as number 2. It becomes very easy. So I can see this is the highest, number 1, number 2, number 3. Yeah. And then you can go ahead and give us, ladies and gentlemen, the optimal production schedule. Optimal production schedule. Now you have everything. So go ahead and, sorry for that. Have you been able to write? Have they finished writing really? All right, thank you. Great. Nowadays I'm happy because these ninjas don't complain of my speed. They don't complain of my speed. So either I reduce the speed or they took my advice of reading before coming to class seriously. So the optimal production mix. So we have in this case here products as ranked. So they are ranked very well, X, Y, and Z. Give us maximum DD. Maximum DD, that's demand, isn't it? So maximum demand. So the maximum, are you able to see the maximum demands, you ninjas? Remember, regardless of your age, you are a ninja. A ninja has to move with speed. Maximum demand is given in note number 4. Maximum demand is given in note number 4. Yes. So we have here 12,500. Fortunately, they are following that order. So 12,500. So, ladies and gentlemen, from there we have, 7,500 and 8,000. Then remember, it's Department 2 hours. Department 2 hours, they're following each other very well. So we have 1, 2.5, and 4. Yeah, remember these are per unit. Go ahead and multiply them to give us total Department 2 hours. Go ahead and multiply, very easy. So 12,500 times 1 is 12,500. 7,500 times 2.5, that I can't get. Let's try to hurry up a little bit so that we can finish this question. So that when we come to the next class, everything will be okay. 18,750. Yeah. And then lastly, we have 8,000 times 4, 32,000. Yeah. Which will end up giving us how many Department 2 hours required? Hours required, I'm being told there are 63, 250 hours in this case here, available. You had given me a figure, nothing changes. Hours available, nothing is changing there. The current hours. 46,500. So give me the shortfall. Subtract 16,750. Yeah, recover this from products upwards. So fortunately, they can fit here. So please subtract there 32,000 minus 16,750. 15,250. 15,250. From there, ladies and gentlemen, we will be able to come and rewrite this. Department 2 hours, although you can avoid it if you are very good. 4, and then now you should be able to give me the optimal production mix by now dividing. So this will be 12,500. This will be 7,500. How about this? 15,250 divided by 4. Yeah, we subtract as per the rating. Remember, this was ranked number 1, right? Number 2, number 3. So we have subtracted in this case here from the last. Not unless there is something I missed, Peter. 38, 12.5. Remember, this was ranked, products was per ranks, eh? And remember this question, we got them ranked the way they follow each other. 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z. All right. So then that is it. You don't have to round this to a whole number. That's it. So the only thing now you need to do is to come here and give us our profit statement. So before you give us our profit statement, it will be very important for you to give us fixed cost. Give us fixed cost. Give us fixed cost in a minute. Give us fixed cost. Actually, we normally call them factory costs. So factory costs. So of course, this will be labor, variable overheads, and any fixed overheads. So Claire is asking, what is the difference between the two methods? You see, for throughput, you can only see we are subtracting material. And then, of course, for the other method, we are subtracting all the variable cost. So maybe, Claire, when you read this, we watch this video again, you'll be able to see that the two methods are not the same. Even the answers here are different. Yeah. So then please go ahead and give me the current labor. So the current labor, we have Department 1. So Department 1, I will be able to go through. So Department 1, yeah. So don't forget that we have X, we have Y, we have Z, yeah. So, and X, current. Here we're working with current, eh? We're working with current output. The current output is given at the very beginning. The current output is given at the very beginning. So at the very beginning, paragraph number 1, this was 10,000. This was 5,000. This was 6,000. So then when we come to Department 1, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of labor, Department 1 in terms of labor, I can see the labor hours. So we have here 3, yeah, 3, that's per unit, times 10,000, plus we have 4 times 5,000, plus we have 6 times 6,000. Whatever we get, these are hours, and we happen to be knowing the rate per hour. For Department 1, it's 20. Yeah. Go to Department number 2. Department number 2, from additional information 1, I can see the labor hours per unit. So then I will talk of 1 times number of units, 10,000. Plus, in this case here, 2.5 times 5,000. Plus, in this case here, 4 times 6,000, like that. So times Department 2 rate, ladies and gentlemen, is 40. Is 40. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have number 3, Department 3. I can see 5 times 10,000. Then we have a plus 7 times 5,000. Plus, in this case here, 9. times 6,000. Whatever we get, we shall be able to multiply these by the rate in department 3. Please write this and then give me these answers. Write them and then you give me the answers. Because what I'm doing, I want to get the whole departmental factory labor cost. So they've given me the labor hours per unit. And then remember that fixed costs, whenever they are not given, they shall always be computed using current output. Current output. Current output. So is there somebody who can give me this? I have another class starting at 8. You guys are very, very lucky because you are free. Most of you, not all of you, of course. There are some of you who have AFM, but there must be some ninjas that once we finish here, they are free. They are lucky. They are lucky. So somebody open brackets here and give me this figure. It's like these guys want us to do this question in our next class, which will be very bad. 1720,000. Thank you so much. Then come to the second one, open bracket. Okay. Okay, great. So open bracket, 1 times 10,000 plus 2.5 times 5,000 plus 4 times 6,000 times 40. So they're getting here 1860,000. 1860,000. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have department 3. Department 3. Department 3. So department 3, there is a ninja giving me 4170. Don't give me the total. Come here. Remember, you still have variable overheads. We have variable overheads. So variable overheads, they shall also be lumped under factory costs, under fixed costs, because that is the concept of throughput analysis. The variable overheads, I can see there 150 per unit, Kenya shillings, so times 10,000 for X. Plus, I can see variable overheads there, 400 times 5,000, plus we have here 450 times 6,000 units, because the figures given there are for each unit. For variable overheads, the figure given there, they are for each unit. They are for each unit. So I need to multiply them with the number of units. So is there somebody who can be gracious enough to give us the total variable overheads, please? Total variable overheads, please. They'll be lumped under factory costs or fixed costs because according to the person who discovered this model, they said, hey, the only expenditure that can only be a variable is material. So I'm being given 6.2 million. Do not forget the general fixed cost. Don't forget the general fixed cost, which was 5 million. 5 million. So come here and give me the total factory cost or fixed cost. Like that. So now you add everything now. This plus the general. If you remember general fixed cost, it was given in note number 3. Fixed overheads are budgeted at 5 million. Don't forget them. Are we not taking materials? Peter, you haven't yet understood this concept. Do you remember materials? We subtracted materials somewhere when we were getting throughput, Peter. Throughput CM. We said it is price minus materials, Peter. That one must have escaped you. Yeah, when we were getting throughput, yes. 18,950. Thank you very much. 18,950,000. So materials already have been able to account. So move there very fast and give me the profit statement. Profit statement. So profit statement, basically 1 minute. So profit statement. Profit statement. So remember, it is profit is CMX minus fixed costs. So we have here X, Y, Z. So already we have here quantity times CM. So the quantity, the first one is 12,500. We have 7,500. We have 3,812.5. Are you able to remind us what the throughput, not the other normal CM, what the throughput contribution was? Actually, I should write here TCM, throughput contribution margin for X. Is there somebody who is able to remind us as we disappear? Anybody who is able to remind us this throughput? So this one, Lilian tells me it was 900, eh? How about Y? 1100 for Y. How about for Z? 1650. Yeah. So please give me these figures. Less factory costs. Less factory cost. And the factory cost is this 18,950,000. This one here, 18,950,000. I don't want to leave this question hanging. I would want to finish it, and I can only finish it if you guys will be able to give me these figures. So this is to be subtracted. So 12,500 times 900. So 11,250. 11,250. Then we have 7,500 times 1,100. Thank you so much for your cooperation. 8250. There are students who can't accommodate that pressure. That's why you can see we were 163. Now we are 147. There are students who can't accommodate such pressure. Yeah, but we shall overcome. We shall overcome. The last one, my good students, it is 62, 90, 625, 62, 90, 60. So can someone do me a favor? Take this plus this plus this minus this. Give me the net profit. If you do it that way, then you'll be able to get all the marks. So I'm being given, so this plus this plus this minus this. I'm being given 86. I'm waiting to be told by many students for confirmation. So it is 6840, 6840, 6840, 625. A must rewatch, yes. 625. Thank you so much. Have a lovely night. I can see so many students in this case here wishing Mwalimu happy Teacher's Day. The best way of wishing Mwalimu happy Teacher's Day is to send Mwalimu 200 bob. If you send Mwalimu 200 bob and we are 140, yeah, times 140, I'll be a very rich man. I'll get 28,000. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. See you another time. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, tuma kakitu for the wishes. Tuma kakitu for the wishes. Yeah, you know the advantage of Mwalimu, my social capital is very high. Anytime I want some little money is here. There is a time I was doing something for some people in Kajiado. Nikasema kila mtu 100 bob. They raised over 400,000. Very, very fast. Social capital. Thank you. Okay, cheers. Now I can close the meeting, right? I hope now I can close the meeting. I hope now I can close the meeting. Thank you so much. Bye.